Hey everyone, this is Scott from the Scott to Grow Podcast. Welcome to another edition of ReWatching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Today I'm talking about Season 4, Episode 14, The Man Behind the Shield. So I'm just going to start off with the plot summary and then talking about my general thoughts about this episode and any foreshadowing or Easter egg elements I might have noticed. So I'm just going to start off that plot summary, which says, years ago, Coulson and May recovered an unknown object from a Russian outpost, besting an SVR team that included Ivanoff. For the failure, the SVR agents other than Ivanoff were tortured and killed. Now Ivanoff leads S.H.I.E.L.D. on a treasure hunt around the world, including to that outpost, in their search for Mace. Ivanoff has been torturing Mace, discussed at his attempts to emulate the Inhumans. The team eventually finds Ivanoff, and Daisy overpowers him. Coulson and Mac save a near-death Mace, while Fitz and Simmons attempt to locate any sign of the frameworks in hopes of finding May. Unsuccessful, the pair reunite with the others, and they return to base. Ada, whom Radcliffe has left to carry out his plans, while he spends time in the framework, finds a crippled Ivanoff. At base, Fitz and Simmons are alerted by their LMD security system, learning that 4 agents were replaced with LMDs by Ada, while Fitz and Simmons were separated from the group. This includes Coulson, as the Coulson LMD wakes the May LMD from storage at the end of the episode. So yeah, that was this. I just finished watching this episode, and I enjoyed this one again too, because with this one we get a little bit of an insight into the Superior and his, a little bit into his mindset a little bit more as him and, as he tortures Mace, we get a little bit into more of his motivation as to why he hates Coulson so much, and it's because Coulson just screwed up his job, that's all. Coulson was doing his job and it screwed up Ivanoff's job, and that got him in a little trouble with his bosses, to say the least. That was a little bit of an understatement, but still, we get a little bit of an insight into Ivanoff's motivations in this, which I enjoy. I also like at the end we see a little hint to the future of Ivanoff, when we see that he's been crippled, but he's also has Ada to help him out there, which I just love where that ends up going. Him end up being a head in a jar who commands different LMD bodies. It's just a lot of fun. It's just so ridiculous. It's so comic book, and so I love that this is just the first step to that storyline that we get later in this season and in the next couple seasons. But yeah, other things we have in this one, we see that Fitz has made his own framework, a smaller version where they're meant for like training and stuff like that. So that's an interesting little thing that they add into this one. I enjoy the flashbacks we get to see of Coulson and May recovering that the object from the Russian outpost and how that ends up tying with Ivanoff. So I enjoy that we also see that they had started to like show some flirtation in their early partnership, but then May goes and meets Gardner before that. So I like that they're hinting into that, so it kind of builds into why Coulson cares so much about May, and then what we get through the next couple seasons before they finally run off to Tahiti together. But yeah, some of the other things I liked about this is that we end off with half the team being replaced by LMDs, and I like that it comes up as such a mystery that we have to be like, ooh, we get a couple episodes of them trying to figure out who's who, and then it ends up with them being in the framework at the end of it all. So I really enjoyed that. This is kind of just like a stepping stone to that next part. But yeah, those are all of the elements of this episode I enjoyed. Be sure to let me know in the comments below if there's any Easter eggs or foreshadowing I might have missed, or anything about this episode you liked in particular. Thanks again for joining me today. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and have a good one.